If you want to get better results in your coaching business, more money, more clients, you want to be more productive, and you want to feel less overwhelmed, then you need some systems. In this episode of the Wholehearted Business Show, we're going to explore what kind of systems you need in your coaching business and how to implement them. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses, and live the best lives while they do it. And today we're talking all about systems. Now, systems might sound like a bit of a boring topic, but trust me when I say that when you understand how strategy, systems, planning, all these things kind of fit together, that you will feel more freedom in your business, you will get better results in your business, and lots of other positive things that we're going to look at in a second. If the whole topic of systems and getting more clients and creating more sustainable sales is your vibe, then please do check out my new free training, which is happening this week as this episode goes live. 6 steps to client attraction and sustainable sales. In that training, I'm going to share all of my best tips, all of the best advice I can give you to help you understand how you can create things, set up systems and strategies in your business that are going to allow you to sustainably and consistently attract clients, particularly if you are a highly sensitive or heart-centered coach, because that does make a difference. As we've looked at over the last couple of episodes of the show, this does make a difference to how you get to show up in your businesses, and I'm going to cover all of that in that training. So please do sign up for that. The link is in the bio. I'll be going live with that on Thursday, but sign up and you will get the replay as well. So it's going to be absolutely packed full of really helpful tips to help you sustainably attract clients and make sales in your coaching business. But to get back to systems and why systems are a way more exciting topic than they perhaps sound on the surface, systems allow you to basically do a lot of extra things in your coaching business and perform a lot of extra tasks, which we're going to dive into in a second. But before we get into that, I want to explain a little bit about what a system actually is. And a system, in the way that I relate to systems, is it's a collection of processes that are designed when they're put together into a system to achieve a specific goal or outcome. And when we're in the business of coaching and we want to get more clients and we want to share our work with the world and we want to grow our income and all of that stuff, systems are really important. So understanding what they can look like in your business can make a huge difference. And what I've really honestly found in my business is that the more that I get clear on the systems that help me make things run, the better results that I get in every single area. And the great thing about systems, although systems just sound like quite, a very structured thing, and because they are, when we have that structure in place, as we chatted about in one of the episodes of the show recently, where we talked about strategy and alignment, it allows us to have more freedom to be creative, to rest, to, do other things in our life. They really do support us. These systems are designed to support us and to support how we show up in our coaching business. And again, we're going to look at what those things look like today. Systems also generally have some kind of automated element, whereas things happen without you having to necessarily be there and make them happen. So some systems, they are just processes and you kind of know what the process looks like and how they stitch together and you can perform them. But some systems have automated elements, and again, that is really important because it takes a task out of your headspace, off of your calendar, and it means that you can be more productive. So often systems will have some automated elements, which does mean that tech comes into it as well, which again, we're going to touch on a little bit today. So what benefits do having systems in your coaching business bring to you? I'm going to list a few of them out because it's really helpful, I believe, to understand how taking the time to set these systems up is actually going to benefit you, because sometimes we can hit a bit of resistance, particularly when it comes to some of the tech stuff if you're not that tech savvy. So having a really good awareness of how it's actually going to benefit back to you can be really useful when it comes to thinking about, first of all, the kind of systems that you might want to set up in your business and how to approach them as well. So the first thing that having systems in your coaching business is going to help you with is save time. That's just really one of the biggest ones. When you have a set of processes put together in a system and it's a workflow, it's repeatable, it makes sense, it has automated elements, it's less for you to do. It's less on your plate. This is especially important if you are someone who is setting up your business as a side hustle. Perhaps you are setting up your coaching business alongside other forms of work, other forms of income, and you need to really make sure that the time that you're spending on your coaching business is going to make sense. This is where systems can be really beneficial. The next way that systems can benefit your coaching business is through saving energy. Very similar again to saving time, but what I find when you have systems is that it takes something out of your mental load as someone who is running a coaching business. Now, I'm sure that you have all sorts of things up there in your head I'm obviously a mum, and I know this is not exclusive to mums who have mental loads, but honestly, anything that you can do to reduce your mental load is going to make a massive, massive positive difference. So having systems that actually take tasks off your mental load, off your plate, out of your calendar is going to really, really help you either put your energy into other places or just kind of have some more of that energy for yourself. And that's absolutely fine too. In line with those other two tips, obviously having systems is going to help you be more productive. So whether you use that saved time and energy to perform other tasks in your business that might generate more income, or whether or not you simply use that time and energy simply for, again, more things that bring you joy, everyone's winning. In all of those case scenarios, there's always something really beneficial going to come out of it because you're going to have more time and energy to direct in the ways that you want to direct it. You're also going to feel less stressed and overwhelmed. Again, when you are creating these systems, they are taking some mental load from you, they are saving you time, they're helping you be more productive in other ways. One of the biggest things it does is it helps you feel more organised. It helps you feel like you've got your shit together in your business. That's one of the biggest things, and that can really help you feel less stressed and less overwhelmed. Another thing with systems, again, is how systems connect to strategy. And for me, strategies are deeply connected with systems because your system is really the method of you actually carrying out your strategy. So strategy is where we are thinking, right, okay, so we're going to do these things in order to get a result. The processes are the parts of that make up the strategy. And then the system is how you put all those things together, hopefully with some automated elements that makes it easier to carry out those processes. So these things deeply connect. And often when we feel stressed or overwhelmed, it's because we are doing a lot of stuff without any real strategy behind it. But what I find is that when we look at the systems part of our businesses, the strategy kind of automatically comes into play. We kind of need that strategic piece to make the systems make sense. And again, that makes us feel more in control. It makes us feel more organised. It makes us feel like we are carrying out processes and taking actions that are designed to get the result that we want. And all of that can help us feel more in control of our businesses, less stressed and less overwhelmed as well. Having systems can help you show up and take action. And again, perhaps you have got a strategy and you have been thinking about doing a certain task in your business, but when you have a system, it makes it easier. So for example, something that I am currently grappling with at the moment is how I show up on Instagram. And I know that when I create the right system around how I want to show up on Instagram, the right workflow, when I automate as much of that as possible, I will actually be able to show up much more efficiently on Instagram and actually show up in a much better way than I am doing right now. So that is something that I am currently working on in my business, is what systems do I need to have in place to help me show up on social media in general, what is missing from what I've already been doing that is going to make it easier. And again, your systems are there to support you to show up. So you can often show up in a much better way when you have systems in place that help you do that. Having a system can also help you automate the things that you don't enjoy. And again, there are probably going to be some areas of business that don't particularly light you up. And if that is the case, and if there is the option to automate that, then you can do that, and it can take, again, that less enjoyable task off your plate. So often there is ways that you can automate or have tech take over some of that, or maybe even having a system and then handing that over to a VA. That's something that you can do in your business to help you actually do less of the things that you don't enjoy in your business as well. And finally, of course, a massive thing that having systems in your business can really help you with is scaling your income, scaling your impact, scaling the number of clients that you work with. And we're going to talk specifically a little bit about the systems that actually help you do that, because there's a number of systems that we can have. There's a number of ways that we can approach this so that you can actually scale your business in a much more sustainable way than if you are doing things without systems. So what does a business without systems look like? And as I've chatted about, I think it was in the last episode of the show where I talked about how to get 5 clients in 30 days. I talked about how a lot of methods of sales, getting clients, of having to show up in our businesses, it's very manual. And what I mean by that is it's really based on us having to show up in a certain way. And sometimes, especially if you are heart-centered or highly sensitive, that is just not as efficient a process for you as it might be for other people. So when it comes to having systems in place, it takes some of that kind of workload off you and actually, again, sets things up so that it doesn't require as much energetic input from you when you have a system in place. So in the episode of the show that I shared last week about getting 5 clients in 30 days, I'll put a link in the description if you want to go and check that out if you haven't already. That kind of strategy is based on you doing a lot of value added calls, or a form of sales calls. Do check that out if you want to understand more about a value-added call. But it's actually based on you having to do quite a lot of work in terms of reaching out to people, in terms of doing calls and things like that. Where most people would love to get to, because a lot of that feels like quite heavy work to do. And again, if you're highly sensitive or heart-centered, that kind of style of getting clients can feel quite heavy on your nervous system. What we want to get to is a place where we can actually get spontaneous client inquiries, which is something that I'm really, really passionate about, helping people get to the point where they are getting that, because it makes everything so much easier. And you can create systems in your business that help you do that, so that again, you don't have to do as much of the manual heavy lifting, like heavier tasks, like having to do a lot of value-added calls, for example, and follow up with hot leads and things like that, although that absolutely does work. So again, it's really about creating these supportive systems that help you show up in your business and get better results. So when it comes to actually creating these systems in your business, and some examples of the kind of systems that you can have in your business, I tend to think of them in two different ways. First of all, the systems that help your business run and the systems that help your business scale. And when we look at these two different sides of things, I think this can really where we start to see a lot of magic happening when it comes to our coaching businesses. So a few examples of where you would create systems that help your business run. And these can be things like, these are very kind of like administrative things. So for example, your client onboarding process, you can create a system around that, what that looks like, around how you support your clients throughout their coaching package and also the offboarding as well. So you can create a system around that. Again, tech can be really supportive in this. I use a program called Dubsado, which can automate elements of the onboarding process so that it's a bit less work for me to do. So you've got that option. You've also got programs like Paperbell, which also perform a similar task. So you can use some tech, but even without the tech and without the automation, just knowing that you've got a process there to follow can make it a lot easier, because again, you're not having to reinvent the wheel every time. You have all the things in place and you can just carry out that process yourself. Or again, if you do choose to outsource and work with a virtual assistant, you can give them that process. And again, that's how the system starts to support the running of the business. Another example is your financial management. And again, kind of looking at what you need to do around managing your money, your income and expenses on maybe a monthly basis in your business, and then creating a system around that. That can be really, really helpful. And again, tech can also come and support that. So you can use, some kind of accountancy software, like I use Xero in my business along with my accountant, and just having a process for what it is that needs to be carried out on an ongoing basis. It's looking at those tasks that are repetitive. I think that's a really, really good thing to remember whenever it comes to looking at systems. Like, what tasks do you have to repeat over and over again in your business, and can you create a system around that to make it more efficient and make it more streamlined? That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. So if you look at all the things that you do in your business and actually seek out, like, what is it that I'm doing over and over again, and can I create a system from this? That's how you can start to create some of these systems in your business. Another example of a system that is going to support the running of your business is having some kind of system around how you plan. And again, I have a really great system that I've developed, which is my mini season planning. I'll put a link to the episode of the show where I talk a bit about how I do this. And it really has, for me personally, this is a great example of a system that I have built out that is directly suited to me. Like, it's very bespoke to me. It gives me exactly what I need, and it really, really helps me show up in a completely different way. I feel so much more organized, so much more focused, so less stressed and overwhelmed when I know that I have these things in place. So really looking at the things that you need to carry out, the tasks that you need to carry out, the strategies that you need to implement, that the goals that you have, and thinking about what systems can I create, how can I streamline processes, what workflows need to be in place. That is going to be so helpful when it comes to streamlining the running of your business. Then when it comes to systems that help you scale, this is where we start looking at, okay, what are the bigger strategies that you are implementing or that you need to implement in order to reach the goals that you have around, usually most of our kind of scaling goals are around impact, income, number of clients, people that we work with, things like that. So what strategies are we implementing, and therefore what systems can we put in place to help us implement those strategies? So it's things like, for example, if you are creating content for your marketing, you might want to have some kind of a workflow around what that looks like. A really clear example of a system that I use in my business is content repurposing, and I have a whole workflow again around how this show is created, because it's a very repetitive task. I create this show every single week, and I have a workflow around what that looks like, in a system that really supports me to show up and create this content on an ongoing basis. But you could also, whatever your content creation looks like, you can create a system around that supports how you get to show up, saves you time, helps you be more organized with it, and just kind of, again, potentially automate some of the processes of that. I should also mention, again, it's just popped into my head, but if you do want to use AI can be a really key part of your systems. It can really help you streamline things down. So don't be afraid to use AI if it's something that you want to utilize, because it can really help you with your systems as well. One of the most obvious examples of a scaling system is to have a sales funnel. And again, this is where you would usually, most sales funnels tend to be built around a sequence of emails that people get once you get them onto your email list. And again, there's various different moving parts of what that system would look like, but the idea is that you get people through the sales funnel, and that at the end of the sales funnel, people will purchase or work with you. So again, that's a very, very obvious example of a system that is designed to help you get a specific outcome that is related to scaling your business. And connected to a sales funnel, you might also have a client attraction system, which is something that I teach a lot of my clients how to implement. And again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about actually creating a system that is going to help you generate spontaneous client inquiries, so that you're not having to do as much of the manual client attraction work as you would ordinarily have to without a system in place. And again, this is a big part of what I'm going to be teaching in this week's training, so please do go and check out the link again. 6 steps to client attraction and sustainable sales for heart-centered and highly sensitive health and life coaches. Do go and check that out. It is a mouthful, that title, but it's going to be very, very practical. And again, I am going to teach what a system looks like around this stuff. So like specifically when it comes to client attraction. And again, part of this kind of melds into the sales funnel type conversation. But when you get to grips with this particular part of systems in your business, when it comes to marketing, sales, lead generation, and you build systems around this is where the magic happens. This is where you can actually start to increase your income, increase your impact, work with more people, attract more clients, create more offers. Like, this is where the magic really starts to happen. So it's something I'm really passionate about helping other coaches implement in their businesses in a way that feels aligned for them. And again, one of the big benefits of having systems, especially if you are heart-centered or highly sensitive, is because it does take off a lot of the mental load. It takes off a lot of the heavy going tasks that feel a lot on your nervous system. And often it just better suits people like us when we have systems that are doing a lot of the legwork for us. It makes so much sense. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach in that training. So please do go and check that out. So just to summarize, we've talked about what a system is and about how it's basically a collection of processes that are kind of inspired by a strategy, and it's about helping you create a system, a way of actually implementing those processes in a streamlined way. The idea of systems is to help you save time, save energy, be more productive, be less stressed and overwhelmed, and actually get much, much better results in your coaching business, particularly if it looks at the scaling side of it, when it comes to get more clients, to generate more sales, to create more impact, more income, all of those wonderful, wonderful outcomes that we want to create. Although systems can feel quite structured and maybe like quite heavy going at times, when we do actually look at systems, like particularly when we look at them in a way that is aligned for us, what they are going to do is they are going to free up so much more space in our lives, in our businesses, in our worlds, for us to spend in the ways that we want to actually spend that time and space. So whether that's more time for yourself, more time for your caring responsibilities, more time just to sit and chill, whatever it is that you want to do, or more time to reinvest in your business, like, it's totally fine. But it's going to give you so much more ability to develop your business, to grow your business, to get better results in your business, because it's not all dependent on you. And this is the thing about systems. It allows you to take some of that workload out of yourself and put it somewhere else. And yes, there are systems that are fairly manual, but there are a lot of systems where you can utilize some automations that, again, it's going to take even more off you, or you can outsource as well. So there's so many wonderful ways that we can look at systems in our coaching business, and it really just is going to completely transform things. If you don't feel that you've got many systems in your business, or any at all, really thinking about the systems that help your business run, the systems that help your business scale, is going to be completely game changing for you. So like I say, I'm going to talk a lot about systems and about the exact systems that you can create in your coaching business to attract more clients, to make sales sustainably, particularly as a heart-centered or highly sensitive coach. again, check out the link in the description. But for now, I really hope that has been helpful. I hope it's given you lots of ideas around systems, even if you've never really consciously thought about what systems you actually have in your business. Hopefully this is a good place to start. As always, if you have any questions and you're watching on YouTube, please leave me a comment. I always respond to my comments. It might take me a couple of days, but I always get there. I will always respond to comments on YouTube. Please let me know if you've got any questions. And also do feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm at wholeheartedly Laura. Again, I'm really responsive over there too. I really hope that this has been helpful. As always, guys, have a wonderful week and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.